Hello everybody, it is the football filling. It is the morning after the night before and I'm sat here with Watto and Tom and we're going to discuss it, we're going to break it down and we're going to give you some reasons exactly why England can still go on and win this tournament.
We're going to try.
Come on then, you start there.
Can we?
It's going to be difficult playing walking football. I think at the moment, Gareth Southgate has done a phenomenal job to get us where we are now. If you think he's done, I think this is his 4th tournament, but he's going to have to make some big and bold decisions before we play the 3rd game in the group to actually get the group together, get the team together, get the nation together, and give us a little bit of inspiration. For me, I think a big question that resonated in my head as I was watching the game last night, obviously the Trent thing we'll discuss, but I think not playing Foden at 10 and maybe leaving Grealish at home because it doesn't seem that we've got somebody there who he wants to really trust in a real attacking sense might be our Achilles heel.
What was your feeling, lads? Like, general feeling after leaving the game? Obviously, we were sat in the stadium, we watched it, we got to feel what the England fans felt and what they were saying. What was the overriding feeling, Tom?
It was rubbish, basically. Like, we were speaking to people after the game and it was disappointing. I think the thing that struck me is that it seems to be typical England where on the way home, you hear the Southgate interview talking about Kalvin Phillips. Then you're hearing people all around the stadium saying, oh, we look leggy, Bellingham looks tired. I just want to talk about that briefly because let's talk about the two things first. The legginess, right? I hate this. I hate hearing it because all of these players from all of these countries have played a lot of football and we don't seem to hear it. But for England players, when it doesn't go our way, we're leggy. What do you make of that?
I don't have it either. I don't believe it one little bit. I think, what's it been, 4 or 5 days since the last game? Don't get me wrong, it's been a long season. Everybody's had a long season now. Everybody's in the same boat. I just think yesterday, it was obviously very warm inside the stadium. You're talking 25 degrees, probably. It's very humid. Everybody would have been sweating, losing a lot of fluid. But there's no excuse for it. I just think the Danish made it quite difficult for England. England have made a rod for their own back in the way that they started the game, the way that they played. But I think the Danish made it difficult for us because for them, that was their big cup final already. They're going to shut us down. They're going to be pressing. They're going to get right in our faces. That's the only way they can compete with England. Because if you look through their team, you look through our team, every single one of our players is better than their players in their position. As an individual, every one of our players are better, but as a team, they know the only way that they can do it is by stifling us, basically, and that's what they did. And even getting towards the end of the game, though, they probably looked like the better team, didn't they?
What do you make of the tired legs thing, Watto? You've been in camp, right, at tournaments where you've had a 50, 60 game season. Is this a thing?
Well, you think always, my experience of tournament football, you think you've done the right thing because our lads have done exactly the same as the other 30-odd nations in the tournament. They've all had long seasons for sure. You think in your 2-week prep, in terms of the friendlies you'll play, in terms of the training, you try and look at every facet of it to make sure you're trying to get wins over the little wins over the opposition. And you wouldn't have overtrained. They wouldn't have played overly the minutes you'd want them to play in the friendlies. Obviously, Bellingham only joined up with winning the Champions League later. But watching that game yesterday, I felt exactly the same as I did when actually I worked and I was sat on the bench. And you feel at that point that you've got more autonomy because you can affect the players, certainly at half-time or during the game, even though I don't believe you can do too much during the game because the atmosphere, the crowd and what
takes over.
Yeah, the momentum's got over you, the top of you. But watching it yesterday as a fan, and we've got 1-0 up in that game, and it just reminded me of previous tournaments, the final we lost against Italy. And yes, the one thing I'd give them is the roof was closed in the stadium. It was stifling. So if you're watching that on TV, you didn't feel what we could feel. But it went exactly the same for Denmark as you alluded to. We get 1-0 up, and we're really in charge of the game. We look a threat going forward, and then you made a good point off air. We'd got a heat map or a player's position map of when we got in front in the game and when we scored.
We'll put it on screen now. We'll put it on screen.
We were 10 to 15 yards higher up the field. As soon as we get to 1-0, we want to take that 10 or 15 yard rest, and it stops the press from the front of the team. And we just went into walking football thinking this is going to be it. And we made ordinary footballers, and that's not being disrespectful to the Danes, because at the level we've got, they are ordinary compared to the talent on our show, and we made them look like.
So is that handbrake on? So from a layman's point of view, it seems to be classic where we go 1-up, like the final, and we stick the handbrake on.
Yeah.
Ben, is that something that will be directed from the manager?
It's a mentality thing. It's all a mentality thing, right? So it is classic England. You score a goal, and then it's like, right, we could win it if we just keep on to this 1-0 lead. You know, we could just win the game. 1-0 is as good as a 5-0. Which is an awful way of thinking. Honestly, it's an awful way of thinking, because what's happened in the last 2 games is the goal that we've scored has been basically the catalyst to go, right, we're just going to chill. Now, subconsciously, we're just going to chill, going to drop deeper. That heat map is incredible. Honestly, it's incredible. Every single player is deeper or much deeper than what they were before we scored the goal. And that is all just a mentality thing. Gareth Southgate at half-time needs to be saying to the boys, lads, we do not sit back. You've started sitting back. The last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the first half, Denmark could have scored 2 or 3 goals, you know.
Would that not be, that's surely something that isn't in-game management? Surely that's something before the game where we say, if we score in the first 20 minutes, we make it 2, we make it 3. Because look at Man City, right? We've got some Man City players in the team. They score 1, they go for blood. Right. They go for 2, 3 and 4.
So this is where there's so much we can talk about with this, all right? So let's start with the manager, okay? Pep Guardiola. Throughout the season, when they're playing Champions League matches, home, away, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, they're playing games all over the place, every 3 games, right? He used to ban the talk of tiredness, didn't he? He would ban that word, tiredness. We're not tired. We know what to do. Once you start believing that you're tired, you'll feel tired, you know. That's the way that the human mind works. There's no chance we believe that we're tired. We just keep going, we just keep going. But the mentality switch that I'm talking about is exactly that. So in that second half, there's a stat I said to you guys a minute ago, didn't I? Jordan Pickford in the second half kicked it long 15 times in the second half, right? You're talking about an England squad of players who, we're a ball-playing nation now, We're no longer are we that team that just boots it forward. We're a ball-playing nation. We've got some of the best individual players in the world that can take the ball in the half turn, they can take it anywhere. They should be comfortable doing it anywhere. And there was one point, wasn't there, where I said to you in that second half where Jordan Pickford's got the ball on his 6-yard line, trying to take a goal kick, right? And he looks up, and I know for a fact, just watching Jordan Pickford in that moment of time, that he has no intention of playing it short. He's no intention of playing it out to Conor Gallagher, who sort of half showed him 25 yards away. Declan Rice sort of half showed him 25 yards away. John Stones is standing on the edge of the 6-yard box. You got Kyle Walker, I think, as well, or Gay standing on the other side of the 6-yard box. And there was no way on this earth he was playing it to one of them, was there? There was no way on this earth. But instead of waiting for them all to get up, and I mean right up to the halfway line almost, he's kicked the ball when they're still stood on the 6-yard line. The ball goes 10 yards into the Danish half. Big Vesta guy just stands on it and goes, oh, cheers, love this. Bang, straight back into the danger zone again. Danish are on top of us again. That's not the way that we're taught to play football. When we train in training sessions, right, England play it out from the back, don't they?
All the time.
All the time.
Sorry, with that though, Ben, we were talking about that in game because we started to kind of pop it around at the back and we looked a little bit ropey. Yeah. So was that a change of tactics, Watto? Because you were explaining this to me in game, weren't you?
Yeah, I thought that Jordan Pickford thought that every time we'd played 2 or 3 or 4 little passes and the Danes were getting sucked onto us, which is what we want. We want to create more space in the danger areas higher up the field. So that's what you want. You want to bring them on, but you've got to be comfortable. You can play and bring them on. And maybe we spoke also about the pitch cutting up a little bit. And maybe they just got to the point where they thought, this is not quite right. But I actually think you've got to be brave. What you talk about, brave mentality, keep sucking them on, and play that pass. Because when you break that line and you've broke the line of that 3 or 4 man press and the field's big, we've got the players now to really hurt them. But I just think we lost confidence in each other and the tactics of that. And then you go back to your point, it just absolutely...
We got nervous, right? We got nervous and the confidence went when we started playing it out from the back way. But if you are good at doing that, the opposition see that and they know it and they sense it as well, right? So, but what they did last night, the Danish, they could sense that we were nervous. They could sense that we didn't really want to play it out from the back. So when it was a goal kick, for example, the Danes would just push up and stand around it and go, right, lads, they're just going to kick it long. And they're kicking it long as well when all the England players haven't even pushed on. And they know big Vestergaard's going to win it. He's 6'7", right? He is going to win it. It's as simple as that. So every ball he pumped up there, it was just him heading it back down again, pressure's back on again. Whereas if you play against one of the real quality top teams, real quality top teams that love to pass out from the back, the Portuguese or the Spanish, they will do it religiously, relentlessly. They will play out from the back, so much so that the opposition then just go, lads, just chill, just sit back, yeah? Just sit back because we're getting popped around. They're popping it around us, making us look like fools. Just sit back. Then the game can start opening up, and that's when you can start finding them pockets. But we made it easy for the Danish last night by not keeping on doing it confidently and properly.
Yeah, one thing I do want to talk about is that the quote walking football. So I think so many England fans get frustrated that you look at Fodens and the Sakas of the world, and in the club in club football, there's high tempo, high energy. In the Premier League, such a fast league, and then when we get away with England, it seems to be sideways passes across the midfield, back to the defence. And I said to Watto, like, in the game, I was like, am I missing something here? What is it? Is it a mentality thing? Is it the defence putting 10 men behind the ball? What is it, Fozzie?
They play, it's mad because they play a very different way when they play for England than what they do for Man City. Phil Foden especially, right? He is playing on the left side of a front three, and I saw him come inside last night 3 or 4 times, whereas for Man City, the one that he hit the post, he's over the other side of the pitch, yeah? But they were so few and far between, right? It was insane. 3 or 4 times I counted it. Otherwise, he's just stood out there waiting. He's just stood out there waiting. You've got one of the best ball players, technically gifted players, just waiting. Instead of coming inside and getting the ball anywhere, drifting, rotating, but you've got to have trust and belief in your players that they can do that and then put a shift in and get back over, or get back if they need to. But we just don't seem to allow our players the freedom to be able to go and run.
Is that what it is, Watto? Because we were talking about this walking football. Is it allowing them?
I think so, and I'm just interested in your point there about City, and then I think about watching the game live and our thoughts on a Bellingham and Kane's relationship, and Bellingham really is playing at 10, and he has to go so deep to go and get the ball. Kane's not stretching that way, so Haaland would stretch that way, and then the 3 in behind a Haaland can really rotate in behind.
Go on, fill your boots.
But that's why we think that also, the Watkins sub, he gets one chance down the side of him, which comes because he wants to come in behind, short to go long, good pass, and actually Schmeichel made a good save. But we never had that stretch.
I guarantee you, Vestergaard, when he saw Wally Watkins come on, would have gone, oh, for God's sake. I don't need this. He'd have seen Harry Kane from the get-go and gone, I've got this. This suits me, this does.
You have to have different armoury,
yeah,
so
you have to,
we spoke in the game that obviously when we looked to threat in that first half and we'd got more momentum in the game, again, Kane came into a little pocket and Bellingham were the one stretching him, and then the 2 lads from the wing got some space.
Yeah.
But we've spoke about it. We saw it walking football. Bellingham looked like he got the weight of the nation on his shoulders yesterday, and he's such a patriotic guy. We saw it. He's trying to really embrace everybody. When Goy made the mistake in the second half, obviously he got a fantastic blocking and the lads and the goalie were around him. But just before that set piece, I said to you, Bellingham's really got to give him a cuddle, a pep talk, had a little word in his ear, but he's doing everything, and I think it saps you.
Yeah,
he would have thought as the game were progressing yesterday, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and I think yesterday he looked really affected by it.
Yeah,
but he's had the season of his life, and he wants England to win this tournament, and I think he's putting that pressure.
But
on
himself. We were noticing the first half, didn't we? And even when Gallagher came on, how deep that he was dropping, wasn't he? And let's just talk about that for a second. So obviously Trent's been in there, and we need to talk about the Trent experiment, but just look at who was the Premier League Player of the Year, Phil Foden, right? All the Man City fans, everyone you speak to go, play the player in his absolute prime position. So does it make sense? We were talking about it. The obvious thing is drop Bellingham next to Rice, put Foden in the 10.
Yeah.
And then
Gordon or an Eze
and
on the
then
side.
one of these absolutely talented wingers. Get him out wide.
The way England have always played or want to play at this moment in time is it's kind of a structured football. It's a structured, but players should have structured positions. So if you are a midfielder, you stay in midfield. If you're a winger, you stay on the. And that's not the way football is anymore. You look at, like, say, the best teams that do it is your Man Cities. We keep harping back to Man City, but they have absolute freedom to run around the place like that. Bellingham is so good at getting up the pitch, down the pitch. Basically, you've got to give him a bit of a free role in that midfield, all right? But I bet you he has not been told, but it's, whoa, shackles on a little bit here, yeah? Your job is in that midfield role, all right? I don't want you on the edge of our 18-yard box and then on the edge of their 18-yard box. There's too much of a gap. We don't want that. We want you sort of in that sort of heat map in the middle somewhere. But our players are so good now and they're so technically gifted and fit and able to get about the pitch that I think we just have to give them so much more freedom.
But is it naive for a fan like me to, like, I sit there last night and go, just go at them, just let the handbrake off? Yeah. Is that a naive comment?
No, it's not. I totally agree as well, because I think that's what we need to do. I think if we set our stall out, the team selection from the get-go, I think gets in the opposition's head. If they see a team selection of Bellingham, Rice, and then absolute will beaters up front, they go, oh shit, this is going to be tough today. This is going to be horrible, because when they get the ball, or their mentality is just going to be get it forward, and they're just going to keep going, keep attack, keep scoring goals. We don't do that. They look at us and go, oh, they look like they're a bit defensive. We spoke to some Danish fans after the game, didn't we? Yeah. So we made the vlog last night. There's a vlog just gone out on the Cycling GK channel, by the way. It's a belter from the game last night. And I spoke to 3 Danish fans and I said, what do you think of England tonight? What did you make of the England squad? And he went, too defensive. It made it easy for us because we knew that with Trent in there, they were going to be defensive and they want to do it sort of like structured and built up and like, let's pass it about from the back. If it's not on, or go back again. And he said, and we knew that's what it was going to be. And our players are killers. We've got Højbjerg, and he's a killer. He just wants to step on and smash people.
But I think, like, the Danes would have obviously watched the first game against Serbia, and what didn't they want when they saw our team sheet? They didn't want to see Bellingham at the side of Rice, Foden playing his position at 10, allowing Kane to occupy 3 centre-halves. Yeah. So we've got overloads all over the field. Foden in that position, our wingers then can come inside or stay wide. When Foden's on the ball, he can slip between wing-backs and centre-backs, or even centre-back to centre-back.
A free roll.
A free roll in behind them.
Yeah.
So we played into their coaches' hands, their tactics. They would have probably been a little bit unsure, thinking Southgate's going to change here. And when they saw that team sheet, they would have grown.
Buzzing.
About Højbjerg.
Yeah.
Look, we've mentioned Trent. We'll speak about him. We know he's not a natural midfield player. He doesn't have the scanning. He doesn't have the half turns. He doesn't receive on the back foot to be able to play as quickly as a normal midfield player. Yeah. He's used to playing with everything really in front of him and having 3 or 4 simple passing lanes. So it's not his fault he's in there. He's not a central midfield player. But Højbjerg, man of the match yesterday, I've known him a long time, worked with him at Southampton. And yes, he got better and better as a Premier League footballer. Couldn't get in Tottenham's team, to be frank. But when he saw Trent in there, he's thinking, he's never getting on the half turn. He's not seeing me.
Yeah, he's buzzing.
And he's getting it hard. And that's the tone for the rest of the team. Eriksen, I'd seen him play for Man United this year. He's a phenomenal footballer. But he hasn't got the legs.
No, I know.
But he stayed on the field longer than...
He looked a world beater last night, didn't he? He looked a world beater last night.
2 or 3 yards off him. So I think tactically the Danes were certainly very, very good, but we played into their hands. Yeah. We allowed it to be, and then we spoke about it when they put the full press on and that. We didn't trust each other, but what we should have had is, when you've got the 2 centre-halves split like that, and you've got then Gallagher and Rice split like that, so it's a dice 4, if you like, or a box, and their pressers where they are, they're in between us all the time. So if you can play that first pass into your centre-half, into your midfield player and out, we're done on the sides. They can't get to us.
Did you try and count last night how many times we played that ball into that central midfielder, into a Declan Rice or into a Jude Bellingham, from our back, from our defenders or from our goalkeeper? It happened once or twice. Yeah. I remember it happened in the second half. Pickford played one into, I think it was Bellingham or maybe it was Declan Rice, and it was like, this is so foreign to us. Like, we haven't done this all game long.
Difficult. And
it looked so weird.
Rice, who is a world-class midfield player, maybe not, obviously, as the game's stretching and coming to the bottom of the pivot, if you like, instead of staying with the two and coming to the pivot when he had that moment in the second half when he actually kicked it out for a corner. But again, he's so square on receiving it. Me, you, Ben, we can't move.
Yeah.
We can, when it's a pass like that, it's such a trigger for the opposition. And I actually felt sorry for him because I thought, mate, you've got nowhere to go.
Mate, do you know what this is the beauty of watching it in the stadium sometimes. Well, when you watch it on the telly, you can sort of get a gauge for it. And I think you get a little bit influenced about what the commentators are talking about and what they're saying as well. But when you're in the stadium and you really get to see the body language of the player and you can really sense what they're going through, you could tell that Trent did not want the ball in there. There was one time in the second half as well that he went running on it with it, didn't he? A little marauding run. And you're thinking, God, I just want this to be Bellingham in this position here. If Bellingham's got the ball, he's looking to play that little through ball. He's looking to play. But as it turned out, Trent was on it and he tried to play one out to the wing to Foden. Got cut out, I think it did.
It was 2 or 3 yards.
Exactly, yeah. He was too far behind him. But do you know what Trent, this with what Trent reminds me of a little bit is, you remember David Luiz used to play for Arsenal?
Yeah.
Very good player, yeah? Like, really, really good player. Technically very, very good. But nobody knew where he played. Nobody knew what his best position was. He wasn't good enough to be a midfielder. He wasn't good enough to be a centre-back for Arsenal. And he got sort of like lost somewhere in between, didn't he?
Yeah.
So much so that he didn't really have a position for him. And eventually he gets farmed out, he gets sold, that's it, he's done. I think that's where Alexander-Arnold is finding himself at this moment in time. For Liverpool, at right back, I think he's solid, he does a job, but he's got so much more than just a right back.
Yeah.
So much more.
He got the ball a couple of times early on in the game, and I said to you, Otto, he looked to play a really good, decisive pass, forward pass, but he didn't quite make the pass.
Yeah.
And is that because he's kind of trying to play to his strengths and go, do you know what, I'm going to make that impact and make the killer pass? But like Otto said, he's not quite scanning and
I saw
aware.
a stat that for these 2 games, he's played the most the most amount of balls behind like the defensive 4 or something like that. He's played the most through balls. He played the most attacking balls through or something like that. But still, I think just having him in that position is too much of a kind of a confidence for the opposition. I think the opposition sees that player in that position and goes, that's something we can target.
So is this Trent, so we've had the same starting lineup for the first 2 group stage games. Yeah. Is the Trent experiment over, Ben?
Yeah, it has to be now. He won't start the next game now.
So let's presume we're going to play the same formation.
Yeah, you'd presume so. You'd presume it's play the same sort of formation. I think Roy Keane said it best last night. He says, basically, if you've started 2 games and you got taken off in both of them games, it's not a great start. But his performances haven't been particularly fantastic anyway. But I think it's just crying out for playing Rice alongside Bellingham, and then, like you say, put Foden in that number 10, get some proper width on there with Gordon or an Eze, and let them from the get-go, from the start, go for it. Also, Cole Palmer, Cole Palmer's sat and watched.
The body language on the bench.
Cole Palmer's sat and watched 180 minutes of football so far, Cole Palmer was, oh, God.
Incredible.
He must be thinking, what have I got to do, What have I got to do?
The fact is, he'd accept he's not playing maybe at 10, because Foden was so good in the Premier League last year. For sure. But apart from Foden's performance in the Premier League last year, he was, in the attacking sense, the standout English performer.
Yeah, without
that. He can't get a minute. So I think the experiment's done. In some ways, I have to be honest, I feel really sorry for Trent. And I felt really bad for him yesterday because I thought Southgate really hung him out to dry by making the change 6-7 minutes into the second half. He has to trudge off in front of all them fans, everybody saying, this. Why can't he make that change at half-time and talk to the team and say, look, I'm taking you off. Yeah. You're coming on, whoever that is, and we'd all like Bellingham to have dropped Foden in and put the attacking winger on, but we can talk tactically about that. There's no way, I said to you at the game, there's no way, apart from the coaching staff, that he's taking Trent off after 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah. Because they wouldn't let that message come to Trent, they wouldn't let it come to the rest of the team. So the tactical messages at half-time, whatever they were, are changing within 5 minutes.
What's the point, Watto? So what's the point in leaving it 5 to 7 minutes? What is the point?
Right,
Nothing's going to change drastically.
It's difficult to explain, right? But it's along the lines of, it would have been along the lines of, if it had brought him off at halftime, it would have been, that's what the media want, that's what the nation wants, and then it's almost playing into their hands. I think if you do it off your own back after 6 or 7 minutes, it's almost like he's made that decision at that point. He's made the decision to make the substitution, but it doesn't help anything, because with, like Watto said there, you're doing tactical talk at halftime, yeah? You're doing tactical talk. You're saying, lads, we're doing this, and then you move there and you move there. And Gareth Southgate fully knows that in 6 or 7 minutes' time, he's bringing Trent off. So the whole tactics of what you've just explained is not even going to happen.
Well, we'll talk about Gareth Southgate then. So after the game, there was talk of Trent, and he was interviewed and said about not having a natural replacement for Kalvin Phillips. Now, we've listened to that on the way home, and I'll put my 2 pence in as the fan, right? I couldn't believe it. I was utterly stunned.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of reasons why. One, we have got arguably the best attacking players in the competition. So that's where we're winning the tournament.
Is that where our focus is?
That's where our focus is, right?
Is on Trent in the defensive midfield.
He's available for selection.
Yeah.
He's not injured.
And we've got a couple of decent ones that could play in that position as well. You know, Kobe Mainu, you've got
Adam Wharton, Kobe Mainu. Why bring him?
Chilling.
Why bring him? Get him up to speed.
I know, yeah.
And bring him. So what's your opinions on that?
It's not going to go down well, is it? It's not going to go down well. Everybody knows that the second you, like Kalvin Phillips, I love him to bits, but you can't mention Kalvin Phillips in this tournament, all right? You cannot mention his name. He hasn't been selected. You can't dwell on stuff like that. Can you imagine those players, Adam Wharton, Kobe Mainu, even Trent Alexander-Arnold, after listening to the manager talk about Conor Gallagher, talking about Kalvin Phillips? It's just not going to go down very well. It isn't, you know, and we have got players that can play in that position, but it's not the focus. It shouldn't be the focus of that England performance and our England performances going forward. That's the easiest fix in the world. It really, really is. Like, put Jude Bellingham alongside Declan Rice, and then you should have a problem is, which of these world beaters am I going to play in which position here? Because I could play anyone there or anyone there, and what do you reckon is the best way to do it? Talking of Gareth Southgate, we've only gone and got his biggest fan on, Mark Goldbridge.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can barely call it a performance. And then, you know, we thought Southgate had shat out one of the worst England performances in years, and then he came out with, I mean, if you're somebody who puts out websites with the worst football quotes ever, you're unemployed this morning. I mean, did you hear what he said? That we've never replaced Kalvin Phillips. I mean, this is a guy that's not
going to go down well, is it?
I mean, Kalvin Phillips has been crap for 2 years, and we played a World Cup 18 months ago. So I just keep your mouth shut. Absolutely terrible. But on the performance, I mean, you were in the ground, you'll have seen it firsthand. It's dreadful. We score a goal, we defend, and we've scored an early goal against Serbia, an early goal against Denmark, and we sit back and defend. And it's just so obvious, and it's been obvious for years for many of us, that he is not a Premier League manager. He's probably not even a Championship manager. And these players are players who need the Ancelottis, the Peps. They need good coaching, and they're not getting it. And to expect Trent to play as a holding midfielder or Foden to play on the wing and then them get a load of stick, I thought was bang out of order. We're just exposed as a badly coached team, and that's not really a surprise, really. I just came into the tournament with a lot of hope that wouldn't happen, but it has.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about what needs to change for the next game in a minute, okay? But we've been talking about it on the show today. There's this graph from, I think it's from the BBC Instagram page or something like that, basically, that shows England's average positions before we scored the goal, and then it's the average positions after we score the goal. And every single player, Mark, is at least a meter. You could be sort of 10 meters deeper than what they were after the goal went in. That's just a mentality thing, though, right? That has to be just a mentality thing of that's what's crept into the England players' minds, and they've got to get away from that, haven't they? Because like I said, we got those players that can just go and score a second, third, and fourth.
He was asked about that after the game as to whether he tells his players to do that, and he said no, and he's a liar, because I watched Spain after that. They were dominating Italy. They got an own goal, and then they dominated Italy for the next half an hour. Yeah, they never went down the gears. And you've played the game. I've watched it for years. Everyone else has watched it. It happened against Croatia in 2018. It happened in the Euros final at Wembley. It happened last week at Serbia, and it happened against Denmark. That is we score, let's protect what we've got. And that comes from the coaches. It's just so obvious. And to try and throw that on the players, if I was a player, I'd be really pissed off, because I'd be like, hold on a minute. I don't do this for City. I don't do this for Liverpool. I don't do this for Real Madrid. I don't want to score a goal and then sit back and defend for my life. And it's so obvious it comes from the coach.
All right, what needs to change then? What we're going to do for the next game? What would you like to see anyway, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that, again, we've not got a very good coach who's trying to do things that other people wouldn't do. I felt sorry for Trent. He's not a holding midfielder. I felt sorry for Foden being stuck out on the wing. I thought Bellingham was out of the game. I think Harry Kane drops too deep. So, I mean, I would go as far as to say I'd put Watkins up front and drop Kane, but that's never going to happen. So realistically, same back five, Declan Rice, Bellingham next to Rice, Foden at 10, Gordon on the left, Saka on the right, Kane up front. Get some balance into the team, go back to basics. And I guarantee we'll be a much better team, because he's trying to whack square pegs into round holes at the moment.
I agree. I think that's it. That either Gordon or Eze on that left-hand side. I think the only reason why I choose Gordon is because Eze came on yesterday, didn't really have too many touches, didn't really do too much. But I just want to see Anthony Gordon there. And even Cole you got Cole Palmer sitting on the bench, Mark. Cole Palmer sat there. He's watched 180 minutes of football so far. He must be scratching his head thinking, what have I got to do?
Well, I just think, we've mentioned the Kalvin Phillips comment. Kyle Walker said it was a hostile environment. You were in the ground. It was 80% England fans.
Yeah.
What's all that about? They're all just spewing crap, because I think their heads have gone. And I think that, everywhere you look, it's bad. And then I'm looking at the bench and I'm seeing, like you say, Cole Palmer, Mainu, Wharton, Gordon. And I'm going, get these lads on. Like, give them some, it's really bad. It can't be any worse. Give them a chance. Innocence of youth. Yeah.
All right, mate. Absolutely top class. Before we go quickly, the streams, how have the streams been going? You've been smashing it?
Yeah, absolutely loads watching last night. Let's hope we get a few more in. I mean, I think we'll get past Slovenia, and I can see us hitting the quarterfinals, and then unless he changes something massively, which he still can, I think we might be heading out in the quarterfinals at the moment.
All right. Well, all the best, mate. I will see you soon, I'm sure. Back to the studio.
So the other one we're going to talk about is the other partner to Trent yesterday, Declan Rice. So your mate James McLean, Jimmy Mac, was quite vocal last night about Declan Rice. Do you think that's fair, or?
Okay, so Declan, to put it into context, Declan Rice basically, James McLean basically said that he doesn't think Declan Rice is a world-class player. And you know what? Some of the points that he makes are actually pretty good points. They're fair points. They are fair points. If you're a world-class player, you dominate and you dictate in that position, and that's what world-class players do. And he mentioned and he referenced Toni Kroos and he mentioned Rodri, and it's fair to say that's what they do. When you watch Rodri, like last night, he sits in that role and he dictates, he tackles, he blocks, but when he gets the ball, he is making stuff happen. Same with Toni Kroos. He is the one that's holding it all together. Declan Rice is just probably a year or so away from doing that. It's going to come for sure, but he's still a year or so away from doing that. And I was watching some of the commentary last night from Gary Neville and Ian Wright, and talking about Declan Rice and what his best position is as well. And they were saying that towards the end of last season, for the last dozen or so 15 games, Arsenal actually ended up putting Declan Rice further forward. They brought Jorginho in as that holder, and they put Declan Rice as the kind of the number sort of 10, really, like pushed him up a lot further forward. And that was where he was doing his best work. He was getting on the ball and he could dictate it, knowing he had a Jorginho behind him. So I actually think that James McLean had a valid point last night, in fairness. I just think Declan Rice, when he plays for England, plays a much more defensive role. We know he's so good at doing that we just go, right, well, you are just going to stay in there. But Declan Rice has so much more in the armoury, doesn't he, than just sitting in that role.
Yeah, sure. But then you come back to the start of the whole thing about Gareth Southgate as manager, the tactics, the formation. Why can't we play just one at the bottom there against, not being disrespectful, a Denmark or a Serbia? Yeah. One player there who is a proper number 6. Yes, he's a defensive midfield player, but he can start your attacks off. Yeah. He'll receive the ball off Pickford or either the 2 centre-halves, the full-backs if they fire it into him. He's really comfortable to start the attacks. Put 2 8s up, and then you've got 5 attacking players there.
Yeah.
And these 2 lads who are wide, for their own clubs, Saka, or if it's Gordon or Eze or whoever, they work like dogs to get back to protect the 2 fullbacks anyway.
Yeah, I know.
And just be a little bit more expansive. I thought Rice looked really poor yesterday. And McLean were right on all the things he said, but the confidence just sapped. It was like the legs went and the confidence went, and we were just sinking and sinking and sinking. And you made a point earlier in the show that Denmark looked to be on the front foot and looked to win the game. They looked so much stronger. The momentum had shifted. But you make the point about when we're in the car with all the England fans, and when you got them messages, it made us feel deflated. So what does it make the players who are in that group, in that squad, who are sat there watching it thinking, well, look what I've just done. But they're watching what we're watching. They're feeling exactly what we're feeling, but they're not being able to get on that field to make a difference. But I think we're going to have to be braver. If we don't want Bellingham at the side of Rice, why don't we just put one in there and get two higher and have 5 attacking players and it's right Slovenia? How are you going to deal with it?
I understand Declan Rice is going to play in that position, right? And I'm fine with it. It's not. I don't think that's a major problem whatsoever. I would worry if we didn't have any pace in defence as well. But we've got pace in defence. John Stones isn't slow. Mark Gahey showed last night with the tackle that he got back to make and block. He's got pace. You've got Kyle Walker covering everybody anyway. Kieran Trippier is not slow. Like, we've got that covered. That should not be the focus or the worry. Like I say, I think I agree with most England fans is the worry, or it shouldn't even be a worry. It should be one of those problems that you buzz off having as a manager is you've got such an embarrassment of riches. Where am I going to fit them all in? Where can I play them to get the maximum out of that individual's ability?
But we've been in the city for 2 days, haven't we? We've been in and around the England fans, and they were so excited about the array of talent we've got for this match yesterday or this tournament. So excited. We were excited coming to the game, and then you have to see and watch that, and it really deflates you. And the fans were amazing. The noise, and especially when we got 1-0 up, you're thinking, boys, you've got this back, and we've actually got the goal. Just feel that emotion and power and let that drive you on, because if you'd have been playing at Anfield, if you'd have been playing at Old Trafford, that backing, it sucks the ball into the goal. But instead of going and going, boom, we're going for the kill, as we've alluded to, Pet, any of the managers who want to be successful, Klopp at his time at Liverpool, use the fans' energy, use the advantage. We had 2/3 of the stadium. We were on the front foot. We didn't hear a noise from the Danish fans, but it just stopped.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
I don't think. I think England fans are quite pragmatic. I do, and I think a lot have been very patient with Southgate. I do. And if we went into the quarterfinals and we went for it and lost 4-3, gave it a right good go,
you'd be over the moon.
I don't think people would be disappointed.
You'd be over the moon if as long as you saw those players who have got ability flourish and get the best out of themselves, and we just come up against a better opposition who were slightly better on the day at putting the ball in the back of the net of us. I think every one of us will hold our hands up but go, I can't wait till the next England match, because I'm going to see exactly the same sort of thing, and that's what I want to see.
When we were preparing to go to that game yesterday and the build-up over the 2 days, if you'd have said to me at any point over that 36 to 48 hour period, Mark Gahey is going to be our best player, and Pierre Højbjerg is going to be the man of the match, I'd have said, you're nuts.
Nuts.
Absolutely nuts. But Gahey played amazing. But he had to do.
Mate, he's played amazing the 2 games, and that is to the point now where I'm not bothered about the defence. Honestly, I have got not one single worry about our defence. I promise you, not one single thing. Even Kieran Trippier at left back, the balance ain't quite what it should be, and I'm sure later on in the tournament, Luke Shaw might come in and fill in that position because it looks like he's probably back fit now. But I have got not one little worry about it, because I know that the players in front of them are so good that we shouldn't have to be focused.
We'll just score more than them.
We will just score more than them. You've always got to listen. Don't get me wrong. You've always got to have a sort of pragmatic approach. You've always got to have an element of like, lads, no, if you lose the ball, God damn it, you get back. Like, you have to come back and you have to defend, you have to help out. But when we have the ball, it should be like the red arrows, like go on. And the whoever we're playing against is just going to be looking at these worldies coming out and going, oh yeah, I've got to be.
If we're that sure, why do we need to have 2 sitters in front of them?
Yeah,
why can't we just let Rice sit there and have? I mean, you imagine if you got Foden and Palmer there, right? Or Foden and Bellingham there, Palmer, Saka, Kane. honestly, he could do anything there.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about with the pace, right? So, like you say, some people, I think a lot of people get in their head as well, where, right, let's just leave Declan Rice there and then the rest can go. And people go, well, then you'll get a gap in between. No, it won't happen because we have that pace in defence to be able to push up. So if whoever we're playing against does counter on it, apart from somebody like a France, maybe, where they've got one of the quickest players in the world, where you've got to be on the half turn and maybe not push up to the halfway line, maybe just 5 or 10 yards inside it in case it breaks down so we don't get absolutely battered. But other than that, get up behind it, push up, then you know you've got players in all their pockets. You can just keep working it around it, pop, 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 pop. Eventually, the opposition will get tired. They will get tired. Somebody will have a lapse in concentration. Somebody will get tired. They'll be on the turn, quarter turn, half turn, and it's not in the right position. And one of them second ones will go, thank you, cheers, here we go.
But we keep talking about City. But you can talk about City. You can talk about Liverpool. You can talk about Chelsea. When they've got a team on the edge of
just camped in.
The centre halves are like quarterbacks.
Yeah, they are.
The goal is virtually on the near the halfway line. The centre halves for your team are like quarterbacks. Shuffle. And it's sapping the life out of the opposition. Mentally, they're scanning to see the runners. The legs are getting tired. They're shuffling all the time. You've just got to be relentless. And you're so high as your rest defence. They've got nowhere to go.
It's a game of chess. It's a genuine game of chess. It's mentality. You just said it the word there. It's mentality, right? If they know that we're going to just keep doing this, they subconsciously will just drop. They'll just drop and they'll go, right, no, lads, it's a rearguard action. We are just sitting in and we're just hoping and praying that we can carry this on for 90 minutes. Nobody can carry it on for 90 minutes. No. Something somewhere will give way.
So, lads, what do you want for the next game then?
I don't think we need to do anything too drastic, right? I think obviously Trent I would have thought will be coming out. But it's that decision basically, which will either be a very attacking decision or it will be almost a like for like, and it will start Conor Gallagher in there.
It's going to start Conor Gallagher.
Or he says, no, do you know what? Let's bring Phil Foden inside and let's put a natural winger out there who can also come inside and do a bit. And Anthony Gordon, for example. I would like to see that. And there's a lot of people that will probably say about Phil Foden, he's had 2 poor games now. Maybe don't start him, but he's not really playing in his favourite position.
When you're playing against teams, Ben, that are going to put men behind the ball against England, he's the one player where a couple of times yesterday he got the ball centrally and he just weaved a bit of space for himself.
He had a run in the first half. Do you remember it? That run in the first half, straight through the middle. But that's because he's in the middle. When you're in the middle, you can go right or left, yeah? You can twist into... When you're out on the wing, there's only one way you can go, and that's kind of coming inside a little bit. But players know you're going to be coming inside, all right? So they'll just double over, shuffle off a little bit, and then you're just running into traffic. When you can go right and left, and you're as jinky as what he is, because he is so jinky, it's either going to draw a foul in a dangerous area, or somebody's going to commit themselves, and he's just going to jump over it and say, thank you very much, that's a player out of the way. Everybody pile in, please. The England lads see that, they get up around it. It opens up space for everyone.
Okay, cool. Right. Just want to talk about the fans. We were sat with some players' families in front of us. Yeah. We were sat with kind of general admission England fans.
With Danish fans right behind us, all over the place.
What was your experience like around the ground, in the ground, English fans and Danish fans?
Incredible, absolutely fantastic. Not one sniff of like danger or trouble or anger or anything. There was nothing. The Danish fans, I've got to say, were absolutely fantastic. Always singing, giving it everything you got. When we were leaving the stadium, I got sort of separated from you lot a little bit and I ended up walking out with all the Danish fans. But they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. The amount of Danish fans that said to me, Wrexham, would just point to you and just say Wrexham, and I would just go, oh, all right, cool.
And did you find out the Barnsley boys yesterday? What's that?
We had one Barnsley flag in there, so it made my day. But my experience of going to the tournament as a fan for the first time, I thought UEFA had got it right, but I thought the English and the Danish fans had got it right. It was great to see that in a stadium.
Yeah, it's nice.
And people were having a beer for sure, having a good drink, having a good time. But the atmosphere from the moment you got within 2 miles of the stadium, it was building and it felt really special to be part of that. And I'm grateful to have got the opportunity to go and watch the game. And I think that's why it's probably hurting us all a little bit more. And why we were all deflated in the car when Gareth said what he said, because we felt it for 48 hours. And then the last 2 hours before the game, you can really feel that we were like going to be on the front foot with all this energy. And for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, we saw it and we thought, as we always do, it's coming home. And then for 70 minutes, we thought, no, we're bloody going home.
Yeah. Do you know what? Can I say as well one thing?
Frustrating.
Shout out to VAR as well, right? Because VAR last night, I forgot about VAR last night.
Yeah, same.
Didn't you?
Same, yeah, I did, yeah.
I forgot about VAR last night, lads, for the first time in ever. And that I wasn't worried about it. When the goal went in the back of the net, it's so much better the way that UEFA do it. So much better that there wasn't any problem whatsoever last night.
It was really good.
Everything was rapid. It was like playing 10 years ago when they didn't have it. It was brilliant.
I've got a couple of shithouse call-outs. Top-class shithousery. Neil Mopay.
Oh, what a guy.
We could put the little picture on screen now. So what did he say last night? It's coming out.
It's coming out. He's watched the England match, and I think he's turned into this super villain now. It is incredible, and I love to see it as well. It's good. It's proper good.
And the other one was, we were walking just out the stadium last night, and the Danish fans were singing, "You're just a shithole in Scotland," which I thought was top banter.
Oh, it's so good. Honestly, the Danish fans yesterday were fantastic, weren't they? They were so good. But yeah, it was a disappointing result. I still remain optimistic.
100%.
I still remain optimistic. Can I say as well, we did a little, the vlog that we did, like I say, it's out in the Cycling GK now. We all did our little match predictions last night. Everyone went for a win, apart from this guy to my right-hand side, editor Luke, cameraman Luke. He predicted a 1-1 draw, and every one of us gave him dog's abuse for it as well.
And he is 1/8 Danish.
1/8
and he wants to play cricket for the Danish national team now, he's decided.
He can't even play for bloody Hemel Hempstead or wherever he got no chance of getting in for them. So yeah, like I say, I think we remain optimistic, don't we, lads? We remain positive. We're going to all the England games, so we're going to be doing this throughout the duration of the tournament. Match day vlog. We're going to put some cycling vlogs in there as well. We've brought our bikes out we're moving to Cologne tomorrow. So yeah, we're looking forward to a good tournament. The rain's about to clear as well in the next couple of days. It's going to be 25, 26 degrees. You're going to see me back in my shorts again. Can't wait.
Up the football filling.
Come on, the filling.
All right, and as the rain is absolutely pummeling it down outside, it is time for Jamie, the quiz. Okay, quiz time. We've decided amongst us that whoever wins the most quizzes throughout the tournament is going to... How does that work? The person that wins it has to donate money to charity. Surely it'd be...
We the Cycling GK.
We, the collective.
So we're basically just donating money to charity?
Yeah, you are, yeah.
All right, cool. It's all for charity. We love it. Right, Jimmy, 10 questions. Come on, let's go.
We ready?
Yeah.
Question 1. Who is the youngest player to score at a Euros on their debut tournament? Not Lamau. He hasn't scored.
Mbappe.
No.
Wayne Rooney?
No. Arda Güler.
Oh,
the Turkish guy.
Oh, this tournament, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what Mark Goldbridge was talking about the other day. But...
He was 19 years and 114 days. The other one was Ronaldo at 19 years at 128 days. There we go.
Good start.
Good question.
Good start. Question 2. Who was the head coach of the Spanish national team during Euro 2020?
Luis Enrique.
Luis Enrique is the correct answer.
Couldn't think.
I got the E, and then I was just, where am I going with it?
Has Xavi ever been the Spanish manager? No?
No. Question 3, 1-0 to Tom. Who scored the decisive penalty in Euro 2020 final for Italy?
Jorginho.
Jorginho is the correct answer. It's not Mbappe unless he's changed his nationality.
I seen him with a French mask on today, protecting his nose.
I didn't say Mbappe.
I didn't
say Mbappe. I said Mbappe.
A little bit more like the England team, a little bit calmer.
Yeah. Walking football. Walking into the quiz. Come on.
Yeah. So 2-0 to Tom.
All right, Joe.
Question 4. Question 4.
Yeah, nobody got the first one.
We got
Arda Güler.
Question 4.
Question 4. Which Euros was the last Euros with only 8 nations playing in it?
8 nations?
8 nations, yeah.
1968.
No.
72.
No.
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 That's a tough question. You're going to guess.
It's just a guess, isn't it, Ben? Come on. He guesses.
64.
1992.
What?
Sweden. Yeah.
With 8 people.
8
Team.
nations playing in it with Sweden, 1992. Yeah.
Any reason why?
I don't
Is that
know.
one the Denmark one?
No.
Yeah, it's one Denmark one, yeah.
There was 8 teams that
Yeah.
competed in the
Well,
whole thing.
apparently so, yeah.
I think that might be wrong.
That might be wrong.
I would almost certainly say that's right.
Nice to see you carrying your Premier League form into the
It's fine.
in Europe.
If that's not the case, I
Right,
do
that-
have another question,
that-
so it's fine.
Unless there's been a...
I remember Croatia were in that tournament because Davor Suker nearly scored.
Well
18.
done, Jay. All right, 18.
Yeah.
We didn't qualify, did we? England?
Did we not?
No.
Wow.
Wasn't it the Graham Turner Swede?
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Well,
So
it's a very good question.
That's a very good question. Well done.
there we go. Thanks, mate. Thanks,
What
guys.
would be nice is on the thing is if they actually put the format of how that 18 tournament works.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Because that is
That sounds
Quarterfinals.
That's
it's mind-blowing.
the
that, isn't it?
shortest, shittest tournament in the world, by the way. It's like a week.
Do you know what happened there? That's when TV money didn't count.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't. A 2-week tournament. It didn't really realise the commerciality of the Euros. Well done.
Maybe that's why they changed
There
it.
you go.
Well, it certainly did. The next one's going to have 64.
Oh no, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, the rest of the world involved.
Yeah, 6-month tournament it is.
That's unbelievable.
Question 5, 2-0 to Tom still.
Move on.
Which country hosted Euro 2012 alongside Poland?
Ukraine.
Ukraine is the correct answer.
This was in the quiz the other day, you know.
No,
it wasn't.
Should have got the answer right.
I'm pretty sure you got it right. Watto's off the mark.
Thank you.
Question 6. Which German player holds the record for the most matches played for Germany at the Euros?
Schweinsteiger.
Bastian Schweinsteiger is the correct
Needed
answer.
that.
Well done.
Pulled in
Needed
there.
that.
Pulled in there.
Oh, who's the guy that scored the most goals?
Miroslav Klose.
Closer, yeah.
Yeah.
And just careful with those cards, Jay.
Yeah, don't worry.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare we? Yeah.
How well bloody dare you?
Who was that? Who's that Neo song? That's the German guy that scored the most goals. Close.
What a song.
Very good.
Question 7. Which city hosted the Euro 2012 final?
Where was it?
So you've just had previous question was 2012. Poland
Kiev.
and you.
Was
Kiev is the correct answer.
1 or 2 1.
2-2-1 is the scores.
Is it Kiev or is it Kyiv?
Kiev.
Ben
Chicken Kiev. Come on.
Question 8.
By the way, it is pummeling it.
Imagine we did the filling outside.
We're going to do the football filling at the fan park today.
It is killing it down with rain, in fact.
God.
Hey, at least the wishing well will be full.
Oh, no, yeah.
Question 8. Can you name one of the 3 teams to have lost a Euros final on home soil?
England.
England. That was Watto. Can you name the other 2? No points here. But France.
And
Yeah.
Spain.
Okay.
Portugal.
Damn.
Portugal. Yes.
I get another point.
No, I said no point.
Oh, come on.
Disclaimer.
points.
Be a strong quizmaster.
I
like...
use a disclaimer.
He was.
I disclaimed.
What I was taking the lead, 3-2-1.
Stop trying to coerce him, Watto.
Yes. Yes.
You can't be influenced, can you, Jay?
No.
Not at all.
Question 9. In Euro 2020, at what stage did England concede their first goal?
Round of 16.
No.
Quarters.
Quarter-final.
No and no.
Semi-final.
No, you both said it at
Final.
the same time.
Back
So
in the final.
it's a semi-final.
Oh.
Watto said semi-final, but he said quarter-final first.
First goal they conceded
Yep.
was against
Well,
France.
He's got an unbelievable record, Pickford, in
Wow.
tournaments for goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shilton this week, I think.
Very good. Very
Okay, it is the penultimate question.
Only Tom can tie.
3, 2, 1.
It's not the penultimate, it's question 10,
10.
isn't it?
The last question.
It's the last question.
The last question then.
Penultimate means the one before.
Oh,
The
God.
quizmaster's losing
Sorry.
the plot here.
Not
Come on, Jay.
question 10. Where?
Big snort.
Question 10.
Honestly, the entertainment that these guys get is phenomenal, isn't it? Phenomenal.
Bless him, you're trying to be like,
Yeah.
that's a good,
I was trying
good
to-
word.
I was trying to get. I know. Probably said it wrong as well, but you know.
No, the execution was good on the pronunciation.
Thanks, guys.
Just too late, mate.
Well, final question.
Thank you.
No,
So
we can do this one.
to do that.
Which England player was top goal scorer at Euro 96?
Shearer.
Shiro. And it was Watto.
Yeah! Come on! A 3-pointer on a German soil. Come on.
How many goals did he score?
7.
6.
8.
5.
How have we let this happen then?
Watto.
Hey, thank you
Congratulations,
very
my
much.
friend.
Cheers, Lotto.
The winner.
I've always been good on away soil, guys.
I'm proud of you. You brightened up our...
Yeah, look at the sun's coming out.
It is.
Absolutely.
That's what happens when Watto gets a few quiz questions. What a day it's going to be.
It's going to be a great day.
Going to be a great day. Love that. Right, everybody, thank you for watching. We will see you in a couple of days' time. And don't forget to go over to the Cycling GK YouTube website. And don't forget to get yourself over to the Cycling GK YouTube channel. The Matchday vlog is out now, right now.